It's your boy, Kxng Anon. I'm here. We back with another video. I forgot what today was. I won't say I forgot what today was, but I knew today was Wednesday. But what was I gonna say? I knew today was Wednesday, and I planned on hopping on YouTube Live, and I wound up forgetting about it. Just got from the gym. I was gonna hop on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch at Kxng Anon. I be over there almost every day. I was gonna hop on Twitch. Now I was like, wait a second, I haven't even done a live or a YouTube video or whatever like that. So we're going in this last few weeks. We've been reacting to how the hood was commodified by Lil Bill. So we're gonna watch this third one, react to it, give some discussions on certain things that he bring up, similar to what we did in the last three ones. Just have little conversations on certain points. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, about to get into it. Shouldn't be too long because this might be like the shortest. I think this is the shortest one. The first one, oh no, the first one was the shortest one. This is 29 minutes. This is the second shortest one. Just talk about what's going on. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, because I always forget to say that. Check out KxngAnonmusic.shop for any new music. Also, I have my newest song lyric video available on the channel right now if you want to go listen to it. It's called, what's it called? Fall or Hold On Tight. I should have another song coming soon. I've actually been working on my next project. Been like, working on mixing the songs. That's what I've been doing for the past few weeks. But yeah, we got more music coming. Trying to just juggle everything. Want to keep doing the streaming. Hopefully I can upgrade my equipment and everything can be exactly how I want it to be. You know what I'm saying? But that's going to take some time. Because eventually I do want to keep doing these live streams, but I want to be able to have it like, what's it called? Streamlabs? StreamYard? I don't know what it's called, but where you can stream your camera, have what you're watching, stuff like that. That's really what I want to do. I just got to learn how to do it and get, maybe the laptop or whatever it is that I need to get it to run properly. So we can do live reactions to certain videos like this, have discussions and all stuff like that. That's the plan. Hopefully we can get it done by soon, because that would just be a lot more fun and be, a lot more easier for me to kind of do what I really want to do. And we'll try, and just because a lot of my content, especially recently the Anon cast, has been based on subjects like this, not only like current subjects like that's going on in the world, but they lean into the bigger picture of what these things mean and stuff like that. So reacting to videos like this is always a good addition, and I can learn and we can learn together if we haven't already learned. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's get into it. Shout out to Lil Bill. I don't always forget. Shout out to Lil Bill. Go check him out. Like, share, subscribe to his channel, his videos, stuff like that. Shout out to FD Signifier, just because they kind of related, but they call each other enemies. But I think it's just a running joke. I don't know what it is, but let's get into it.
All right, let's get this over with. Okay, so I think I've said like several times now that Benny the Butcher is one of my 5 favorite rappers at this present moment. I bring that up because not too long ago, Benny, as his want with street rappers since forever, opted for Charles Barkley defense when asked about how his music affected the younglings.
I never seen this. Benny Butcher believes fans glorify rappers too much. How you doing? Raul Ruiz. What's up? What's popping? Benny Butcher believes fans glorify rappers too much. I'm not Dr. King. Yes, most definitely. I agree with that. I did an episode of Anon Cast a few weeks ago, and I basically said that, like, why do we put too much stock in artists speaking for us, rappers speaking, not just rappers, celebrities. I had a video about that a few weeks ago. How you doing? Angel on hell. Sometimes you never know. Angel Stevens or Steffens. How you doing? But I've had a video about this a few weeks ago where I was basically talking about. I put a couple of clips out too. We glorify and we allow, or we lean too much on celebrities, artists, certain people to speak for us and represent us in certain situations, and then when they don't, then we get all disappointed. We start pointing fingers that you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. Like, no, we can't keep holding. A lot of these people just want to be rich and famous, and that should be how you should just look at them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. If they're rich and famous, they probably wanted to be rich and famous. That was probably their goal or whatever like that. So to expect them to be bigger than what they dedicated their life to doing, you're just asking for a lot. What's up, Saturn? I seen somebody say that on was it a podcast or something like that? I seen like the meme. I don't know if it was a video, and somebody was like, "What? No, but I'm not." He's like, "See, it worked." Jose Lugo, what's up? What's up? Julius Rivera, what's up? Vivian Clemmy, what's up? What's popping? But yeah, I agree with Benny Butcher on this. Some people just want to make music. Some people may have a message in their music, but you shouldn't look at them as an activist or a politician or somebody that's going to fully represent and have full context on the conversation they're having. It's just ideas. We all have ideas, and as an artist myself, we're not the. I won't say we're not the smart because there are smart people, but as an artist myself, we have thoughts and we just make music around our thoughts and our experiences and stuff like that. Our growth, that's very important. So we are just growing people just like you're growing people. So expecting us to be, you know what I'm saying, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Jesus Christ, or whatever like that, because you like our music, you're just asking for a lot, and you're asking yourself to be disappointed a lot. You understand what I'm saying? Um, what's up, Jose Lugo? You said what's up earlier.
And in a vacuum, I agree with him. Y'all should know by now that 9 out of 10 times I'm going to side with the artists, especially when it comes to their content and the censorship thereof. No matter how stupid or offensive what you have to say is, I'm almost always
what you say? Spotify quietly removed more than 110 episodes of Joe Rogan's podcast following criticism from celebrities. The podcast, the Who series, is one of the platforms with most popular podcasts. Oh yeah, I remember that.
You're right to say it.
He said in a vacuum, so I think I understand why he said in a vacuum, because you should want the purpose of hip hop at the beginning was to kind of have I won't say it was a political statement, but it was supposed to be a statement. So to kind of try and pull the statement and the meaning of what people are saying out of it is kind of, you know what I'm saying, tricky. So the stereotype, change the smoke alarm battery. Thank you, God.
Especially when it comes to artistry. Almost. That being said, I do consider myself a man of science, and I want to side with Ben on this one. The data just won't let me. According to this University of Iowa study, which was conducted in 2003, violent song lyrics led to an increase in aggressive thoughts in the students they studied. And I mean, again, going back to the last video, the brain doesn't complete its development until halfway through your second decade. So, like I said then, kids are dumb. That being said, the whole gangster rap made me do it argument is basically like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Or, since it's still topical, protecting your wife from a punchline, but not a penis. Again, couldn't be me. Rap music ate my baby. It's like saying the cheesecake gave me diabetes. No, nigga, you not knowing when to put the fork down did that.
Right.
My point is, as I made clear in part one, rap music and street rap specifically are products of the environment where they were created. So if art is supposed to be all about self-expression, what gives you the right to deny my own experience just because your dumb, deluded, deviant of a child is still tying a bedsheet around his neck and jumping off the roof at 16? How do you expect me to write rhymes about rainbows and butterflies when all I see all day are dope fiends and gang signs? One of our biggest issues with white people's perception of Black America is the exceptional Negro trope. If you don't know what that is, it's Ben Carson. And for that matter, Oprah Winfrey. And for that matter, God rest his soul, warmonger himself, Colin Powell. It's the poor Black person who defeats all the odds and makes themselves a success in spite of all the systems and institutions put in place to prevent them from doing that in the first place. It pisses me off more than a robo telemarketer. And the reason is that this is just one of the plethora of excuses white America regularly pulls out of its doo-doo butter-crusted backside to deflect from addressing the issues that created the odds those exceptional Negroes had to overcome in the first place.
Right.
Oh, no, we don't have to address systemic inequalities created by our ancestors for no purpose than to inflate their fragile egos by ensuring that Black people would have to damn near kill themselves just to attain the kind of wealth and status we get from just being born. Look at all these fine colors who overcame the odds despite our best efforts to prevent them from doing so. Why can't you be more like them?
Right.
My point is, I'm sick to death of hearing people who aren't from where I'm from or have had to fight the odds that I fought, wagging their fingers in their paternalistic self-righteousness, saying to me and those like me to just do better, when I can all but guarantee that if you did come down from your privilege-plated pedestal and actually walk a mile in my buckwheat butters, you'd either tap out by lunchtime or be posted up with a pocket full of nicks and dimes by the end of the week. I say all of that to say, if you want to come around here with that just say no BS, then you can take your Wrangler jeans and New Balance lifestyles and get the on. Eat a bag of baby orangutan dicks, because the second a brown face even gets a seat at the table, the first thing that comes out of your tuna salad covered gob is affirmative action higher. Jimmy D, eat your mayo and cheese sandwich and have a seat in the Dutch corner, you redneck pencil dick.
You go crazy.
Man, I ain't even saying like that. I ain't trying to hear. I ain't trying to hear. You want to get canceled, boy? Come on, you want to get canceled? Do you want them to do to you what they did to David now? No, I ain't leave my dad's pick on my 3 sister wives for this. You get on there and you make it right. I want to take this opportunity to apologize to the friends, the family, and the allies that I have offended with my comments in this video. I will use this experience as an opportunity to learn both who I am and
Not
who
Travis
I
Scott.
can be. I want to become a better artist, but more importantly, a better person. A few moments ago, Clarence told me that at your highest moment, be careful, because that's when the devil comes for you. I want to be a vessel of love, not only for this online community, but all of God's children. I hope you will allow me to grow as an individual.
He got about my picture of everybody that be doing the little apology videos.
And God bless. Is that good enough?
I don't even know if that trend done died yet.
Jesus Christ.
It's like there was a period of time where every famous YouTuber had an apology video for some bullshit.
Part 1. Street rap is a product of the environment that birthed it. So if you think the drug and gun bars are such a problem, then maybe you should think about addressing the issues that lead kids like Savage, Kodak, the Babies, and Young Boy to turn to that life in the first place. But you want to know why that's too much like rape to ever be a realistic option? Because Americans are conditioned to be selfish dickholes. That's why. Or else 2/3 of Americans wouldn't oppose reparations, even though that's both a morally and economically sound thing to do at this point. But sure,
that's crazy.
With a T dollars.
That's crazy.
Reparations, even though that's
like, you got to think about it from this context. I think this might be in Germany or something like that. But the Jews and ancestors of people that were victims of the Holocaust get reparations. Or got reparations. I don't know the current standings on that, but at a certain point after the Holocaust, people got reparations for being related to or being a part of the Holocaust. But when it comes to that situation, it's like, nah, I don't think that's the right thing to like. I don't know. It's not weird because it makes sense in the context of what people already feel, but. It's just crazy, bro. It really is.
Both a morally and economically sound thing to do at this point. But sure, let's give $1 trillion with a T dollars every year to the defense industry to build fighter jets that'll never get off the ground and drones that'll blow the legs off of little brown children that you won't even know exist until the next Feed the Children telethon. So like I said before, the music industry is as much.
They will dump a whole lot of money into a war that don't exist yet. But like, oh, we got big guns, we got tanks, we got this, we got that. Dump all the money into that. That's why tax dollars go. But when it comes to, hey, we did these group of people wrong, and now they are suffering economically, mentally, psychologically, to the things we did to them over the past couple hundred years. Let's in some way, I wouldn't say that's I'm sorry, but help them in these situations, but instead, no, we want to keep them there and keep keeping them there and even make the situations worse for them if we can. Like, it's crazy.
Image than actual music. And in a genre like hip-hop, that's particularly true. Despite it becoming more and more mainstream, hip-hop's roots still lie in the underground. And as with similarly originating genres like punk and metal, a rapper's authenticity is just as important as their artistry. Sometimes even more so. This is why the use of ghostwriters is so frowned upon, and even the allegation of using one will knock you from the GOAT throne to a completely different genre almost overnight. Just ask Drizzy. This is also why you can get away with suspect lyricism so long as you're the realest guy in the room. Or at least appear to be. Which brings me to this Walking Friday flow.
Oh my God.
Say what you will about him, and I mean, really say whatever you want about this crackhead birthday clown. But he knew exactly from the jump exactly what he lacked and exactly how to make up for it. Those being talent and gratuitous amounts of fraudulent street clout, respectively. I'm not going to do a whole deep dive on the marvelous misadventures of 6ix9ine because it's been covered by almost every media outlet at this point. But suffice to say that, to me at least, the real-life Daniel Garcia was more times than not the smartest guy in the room. At least relative to the company he kept.
Right.
He's since become a pariah in the hip hop community, but that was only after he came out and copped to what we all should have known from the beginning. Well, at least the adults.
I think I remember that docuseries. I think I reacted to it. If I can remember correctly, it was a Hulu docuseries. No, it was a documentary. I don't think it was a docuseries. Might have been both. I mean, not both. It might have been a docuseries, but it was a Hulu docuseries or documentary about 6ix9ine. I remember reacting to the trailer, and then I did a review on the documentary a few years ago, and that was kind of like the overall message at the end was like 6ix9ine was kind of the person to do whatever he could to get attention on him, and the person who did the documentary was like, I spent all this time, all this effort trying to get information on 6ix9ine, and all I really got was that 6ix9ine likes attention. So I didn't even speak to him. I couldn't get him on an interview or nothing like that. But he still wound up getting more attention just from this. So am I helping his cause? Was I one of the people that got tricked or duped or, you know what I'm saying, manipulated by 6ix9ine without even being around him? Like, that was kind of like the overall tale was just like, this person worked with 6ix9ine for whatever. 6ix9ine did this and that, and then he cut him off. Then 6ix9ine met with this person. They did this and that for him. And then once he got what he needed, he cut them off. And then he got with the Bloods. And then once he got everything that he needed out of them, and then they started to flip it and start extorting him, then he threw them under the bus and tried to get rid of them. And now with the documentary dude, he was kind of like, some people will paint him as a good person, but like they'll say Danny and 6ix9ine are two different people and, you know, whatever like that. But he was just like, am I being manipulated to just keep giving this kid more attention? Like, that was kind of his little thing where it's just like, I don't know if he's a good person or a bad person, but from the stories I hear, he just knows how to get you to connect to him enough to get something out of you, and then just throw you to sight. Even what's the dude name? The YouTuber. What's his name? I can't remember his name. There was a white YouTuber that was hanging out with 6ix9ine all the time, and then 6ix9ine wound up using his connects to set up Lil Perky or whatever the dude name was. That was the Dirt clone, and then he was like, I gave this man money, I did this and that, and then he put me in a situation that was kind of fucked up. 6ix9ine owed me money. He's like, eventually once 6ix9ine got what he needed out of old dude, I can't remember his name. All of a sudden, the dude was like, yeah, 6ix9ine, he's broke and this and that, and I gave him money, I gave him cars, I did this, I did that. And then he just put me in a situation that I was unaware of, and this and that going on. Like, that's been a constant thing, is people get close to 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine manipulates them or uses them. They think they know Daniel, and then the whole time it's all just a plot to get more attention and more clout or whatever like that. So it's just interesting that they brought that up in here.
Phony, and worst of all, an actual honest-to-God federal informant. Unlike somebody like Riff Raff, who he's been compared to pretty frequently, 6ix9ine never had any actual love, let alone respect, for the culture he was shamelessly grifting, or the community that birthed it, for that matter. This game was less about making himself into at least a facsimile of a decent MC than just milking the teat of New York street culture until it was drier than the Sahara. And the sad part is, it worked. Or at least it did, until, again, he turned snitch just to save himself the trouble of having to learn how to braid hair just to survive. And you know why? Because unfortunately, there is, has been, and always will be a market for consequence-free criminality. Case in point, YB and Namir, who based not only his breakout hit, Rubbing Off Paint, but his whole image on his gangland exploits in South Central LA. That is, until it was revealed that the only bodies he had ever caught were in a video game. Yes, I cap you not. The kid's whole persona was based on GTA Online.
I thought YB was from Texas. Maybe I'm wrong.
But the exploitation of street culture isn't limited to
somebody from Texas. Maybe it's Almighty J. One of the YB dudes was from Texas. I thought.
Over here. Both have been taken to task for years for seemingly using the uglier aspects of hip-hop culture to fatten their own wallets. Academics has been called on the carpet repeatedly for being little more than a professional pop star, for giving rappers of questionable artistry a platform for clout chasing, as well as him instigating and even inserting himself into street beef just for the ill-gotten notoriety. Something that the late Nipsey Hussle took particular issue.
And that's been my biggest issue when it comes to academics, is he doesn't surround himself with, he gets what he deserves when it comes to certain situations. He always likes to involve himself in mess or be the cause of mess or stir up mess. And then certain things happen, like he gets certain cases, or certain things that happen around him. He'll get certain cases, or he'll get exposed for talking weird to a little boy on stream. He'll get banned on like the things that happen to academics aren't by chance. It's because you involve yourself in certain things, that energy, and it's just going to get over you. That's kind of why I don't really watch him as much. I seen like I watched like a few of his I think he had a podcast something like that where he interviewing people. I watched a few of those things, like even him interviewing Kanye. It's just like, bro, you know what that is over there, and you just giving it more attention. You understand what I'm saying? And because it keeps getting attention, it keeps working. But eventually people are going, and I heard like his views have been going down, especially compared to around this time last year, where everybody was going to academics for updates on the Kendrick Drake beef. Once again, getting yourself involved in other people's situations. You've been the mouthpiece for Drake for damn near the whole year. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's going to catch up to you eventually. You shouldn't, especially as somebody that people look at as a credible source for media. You can be a credible media source and not always involve yourself in the middle of conflict. And he just always seems to involve himself in conflict, whether it's street conflict, whether it's music industry conflict. I just think it's a slippery slope to keep messing with, and a tricky game to keep messing with, because eventually you're going to get involved in the wrong thing. Wasn't there like an interview or something a few years ago where like shots was fired or something like that? I can't remember what it was. So, but it's just always something. Even when 6ix9ine first popped up, he was the first person to try and interview 6ix9ine. Like, you don't always want to keep trying to attach yourself to certain things, especially if it's just bad energy around it all the time, because then people are going to look at you like, oh, you are the bad energy. You're going to start suffering results and getting conflicts of whatever bad energy that is that you keep inviting and platforming, putting on your platform and all stuff like that. Like, that shit is real.
By the way, Vlad TV was once and still is by many praised as a refreshing, unfiltered platform for voices in and around hip-hop who don't normally get a platform to do so, to speak their unadulterated truth in an industry perpetually pushing for as much sanitation as possible. But in recent years, Vlad's been called out by the community for needlessly leaning into the alleged criminal activity. Yes. Nick Cannon and Benny the Butcher went so far as to call his cap on his own show, no less. In the interview with Benny, Vlad claims that it's all gravy because he doesn't talk about open cases. But if you look at this interview with New York rapper Casanova, Vlad uses the rapper's admission to stabbing 12 different inmates while locked up as a tagline. FYI, according to multiple sources, the FBI used both social media and said interview to indict the rapper.
I remember it go viral like every few months. Every few months it'll go viral and start circulating again. But I remember when he was interviewing a little baby. And he was like, yeah, you had gotten a fight in jail with a white kid. And he was like, yeah. He was like, wait, how you know that? He said, you might have said it in the interview. He was like, nah, I never said that shit. Like, you got some insight somewhere that you ain't supposed to for you to be bringing that shit up. I was just watching, who was it? It was Justin Hunt, Company Man. And he was talking about this new direction of hip-hop media that's leaning more towards hood politics, hood culture, whatever like that. And they talk about how this new wave of paying for interviews is what's really fucking up for a lot of people, because people are now feeling like, well, if they gonna pay for me to come up there and talk, I gotta give them something to talk about. And then that's where you get people that'll go up on Vlad or go up on this platform or that platform, just openly talking about murders and crimes. And then when they get locked up, they be talking about, oh, somebody snitched on me. You snitched on yourself. But that's what they were saying, like, in that video, was like, if you're paying people to talk to you, like, that's against the what journalism is. Journalism is you find the scoop. You are able to talk to people. You don't pay for the information, you get the information. You don't pay for the interview, you get the interview. So now we live in a world where people are paying 10,000, 15,000, maybe 20,000 to sit down and talk to somebody, and that person's going to be like, well, I'm going to give you your money's worth. I'm not about to just bullshit the whole time. You understand what I'm saying? And it has been backfiring. You get because they were talking about what's the new name, Keefe D, and how he was just going around basically telling everybody, yeah, Puff gave me money to kill Tupac, and then But he didn't send a check because if he would have sent the check, then he would have got locked up. Like you openly saying this shit, and now you in jail talking about some. Nah, that wasn't really me. Nah, I just made that up. Like now you just messing up what the credibility of an interview is because now the interview can either age well or not age well depending on what you say and if you just making shit up or not making shit up. You can easily go back, oh, I was just up there just talking, it wasn't real. And it's like, well, then what was the point of the interview anyway? You understand what I'm saying? Like you taking away the integrity of an interview, you taking away what can and cannot be true. Now you don't know what people are talking about and what people are saying on these platforms, which I don't believe what people be saying anyways, but you just don't want to keep watering down what media is supposed to be by basically using money to get interviews with people and people just going up there saying whatever because you paid them to. And even sometimes you might be paying them to talk about specific shit. Hey, I'll give you $20,000 to tell me what happened to Tupac. I give you $30,000 to tell me what happened with so and so. That's what people are damn near doing now is purposely paying you to incriminate yourself. And I don't know for sure, but I think that's why Adam 22 and No Jumper is in the situation that they in. They getting all these criminals and all these people up there. I don't think they getting them up there for cheap. I don't think the people are leaving their hoods and wherever they at to come talk to Adam 22. I think Adam 22 for years had been giving money to people to come up there and incriminate themselves. He asked some weird questions. Like, who was that a few weeks ago? It was somebody a few weeks ago where Adam 22 was like, yeah, you was involved in a shooting. Somebody wound up getting shot or something like that. Or there was a shooting, and they said that you were involved in it. You have anything to say about that? And the dude was like, no. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. And Adam 22 was like, okay. Like, he didn't know what to do because the dude wouldn't incriminate himself. Like, if your platform is solely based on getting people, especially black people, to come on your platform and incriminate themselves, and if they don't do that, you have nothing else to say. The art of journalism, the art of interviews, the art of this and that is to always be able to keep a conversation going when it starts to dive down, being able to switch and pivot mid-conversation to try and keep a conversation going, keep it entertaining. If you try and get a person to incriminate themselves and they be like, nope, I don't know what you're talking about, and all you do is this, you're not good at your fucking job. You don't know how to pivot. That was what you were betting everything on, was getting that person to snitch on themselves. And when they didn't do it, you had no idea how to continue the interview. And that just says a lot about the current landscape, because that's what a lot of people depend on is, yeah, so I heard that you got in a fight with this dude and that dude. Well, you want to say something about that? And people will be like, yeah, man, it's crazy because it didn't. Like, it's crazy because we robbed him and then he wanted to get his shit back and we told him no. So we, like, come on, y'all.
Tagline. FYI, according to multiple sources, the FBI used both social media and said interview to indict the rapper on a number of RICO charges. This video is the piece of evidence that
ARAP, oh my God. ARAP started this shit.
And that's according to the judge who booked them. Now, I've seen people on the internet, including some street dudes,
ARAP, the pioneer of self-snitching, on God.
Never asked for it, so it's his own fault for running his mouth like a running faucet. But here's the thing. Like I've said in the past, I'm not a street dude, but I am a journalist, or at least I was trained to be. And commandment numero uno in the journalist code of ethics is to inform the public, obviously. But number two is to never, under any circumstances whatsoever, expose your source to unnecessary harm. Why? Because journalists are not cops. Typically not cops. And the quickest way to lose your credibility and thus livelihood is someone who depends on people trusting you enough to share their most intimate details of their life is to be labeled a rat. So even though it is your job to inform the public, it's still up to you to determine what is and isn't in the public, let alone feds' right to know. So at the very least,
and he cooking right here. If you're doing an interview with somebody, because that's the thing. Nothing when it comes to YouTube interviews, clips, this stuff and that. Nothing is put out by accident. Nothing is put out by accident. All these interviews are edited. All these interviews are looked at and examined before they go out. These people purposely keep incriminating moments, incriminating detail in their interviews to release to the public, knowing that the police can look at that and examine it. And like he said, one of the rules of journalism is to keep whoever you're interviewing out of harm's way, not put anything out there that can potentially put them in harm or potentially get them in trouble. These people could edit out any incriminating evidence. Because I know Ice on the Joe Budden podcast always say, if you don't want to incriminate yourself, then don't say anything or whatever like that, which is perfectly fine. But sometimes you get caught up in a conversation. Sometimes you just talking or whatever like that, not even thinking about it. You say some shit. You know what I'm saying? Now you could go up and like, hey, edit that out. You could, but just like you could say, hey, edit that out. Somebody could be like, nah, I think this is good. You know what I'm saying? These people take away journalistic integrity and all stuff like that, and they keep incriminating things there. And when people get locked up, they're like, well, I didn't know anything about that. That has nothing to do with me. There's like Vlad always tries to act like Vlad treats people calling him a fed like people like how people speak about artists in the Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? Like when artists be like, oh, Jay-Z's in the Illuminati, Beyonce's in the Illuminati, this person's in the Illuminati, and they be like, oh, that's just crazy. That's just rumors. That's just internet fodder. Vlad treats the narrative or the idea of him being a fed because he always gives people incriminating evidence, and the police have said we look at Vlad interviews to help our cases, and he be like, yeah, they trying to say that I'm a fed, but I'm like, no, something's up with you, bro. Always thought that something's up with Vlad because he do be acting some weird shit. He always trying to hide behind, yeah, I'm from this and I'm from that, and yeah, like you try and act like you're a part of something but you always seem to be a part of something that was the opposite side. The struggle of black people is the police always harassing us, jail, all this crazy stuff like that, and you just happen to be a platform that leads to a lot of black men going to jail, and you can say, oh, it's their fault, but if you just edit out the things that could potentially put someone in jail, it'd be perfect. Same with academics. The part where academics asks Dirk about Quando Rondo and asks Dirk about Slavovon, and Dirk says, oh, they say you can't say that no more. That's just something I heard. Must be something in the water. Like he was insinuating something. If academics would have just said, I'm like, oh, it sounds like he's alluding to something that could be detrimental to his future. I should edit that out. I should cut that out of the interview. He kept it in. And then when Dirk got locked up for the murder of not Quando Rondo, before the murder for hire thing, that exact clip that the academics had in his interview started circulating around. Those clips of people saying in other interviews saying, yeah, they say you can't say Slavovon no more because of Lil Pab or whatever the dude name was. Like, these people could have edited those parts out of their interviews. And none of this would happen. Dirk probably wouldn't be in jail, or at least they would have had to work a little harder to get him versus them saying like, oh, well, this person said this person is in interviews. Y'all have the power to edit this shit out, and y'all don't. Y'all keep it in there, and when people get locked up, y'all be like, oh, free Smirk, free Dirk. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he's in jail. Like, academics all on the floor crying because Dirk got locked up. Like, you ain't have no part in why he possibly got locked up. You asking this man about his beefs. You asking him about what he gonna do to this person if you see him. You asking about like, y'all contribute to people getting locked up, and then when they get locked up, y'all act like y'all was a supporter of them and you love their music. Like, I don't trust in people. Even when Adam 22 was on, this was last year, Adam 22 was on, I think, Joe Budden podcast. Maybe it was 2 years ago. And it was saying like, hey, you don't think something's wrong with the fact that you put people in situations that could incriminate them and this and that? And he was like, no, I don't see any. They talk about it in their music. I'm just asking them about things that they talk about in their music. Yeah, but if those things are incriminating, maybe you shouldn't ask them that. Or if you do ask them that off camera. Don't ask them that on camera and put it out. Understand what I'm saying? But anyways, I'm just went on a little rant.
That has been guilty of shoddy journalism. And some could even argue that his show is basically just TMZ Hood Life edition. But that's the hook, isn't it? It's not about artists giving you a window into their creative process and the experiences that created that process, but it's the possibility that if you tune in long enough, you might just see a real-life gangster movie plot line unfold right before your eyes. That's why movies like the Godfather trilogy, Heat, and Goodfellas, and TV dramas like The Wire, The Sopranos, and Breaking Bad have become cultural touchstones. That's why movies like Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society are just as much a part of mainstream consciousness as they are the hoods. Just like what I said in the last video, and like James Maynard Keenan chromes on the hook the Vicarious. Again, bad Negro. That's why every single cable news station in existence is salivating over Russia's Ukraine invasion and won't shut the F up about the U.S. post-COVID homicide spike. The reason why death and drugs, crime, and criminals will always be marketable is because people are always willing to pay top dollar for a quick
Betty Friedan. Is It is easier to live through someone else than to become complete yourself. That is so true, especially now. I be talking to people about this all the time. I think I was just talking to my cousin about this, about how, like, especially nowadays, a lot of people are so, I won't say miserable, even though, yeah, they are miserable. So a lot of people are so afraid to look with them themselves, reflect on themselves, to grow on themselves, figure out who they are, be expressive of themselves, especially live in a certain world where people are just afraid because they don't want to be judged and this and that. A lot of people will choose specific people. It goes back to what I was talking about earlier about worshiping celebrities. People would choose celebrities to be their avatar for who they are. You understand what I'm saying? And you can see it with Kendrick fans, Drake fans, Eminem fans, Nicki Minaj fans, Beyonce fans, this and that. People attach themselves and become obsessed with these people. And I said it in the video too. And we'll go to bat to defend these people because, yes, I'm defending this artist, but I'm also defending me because I love this artist. And if you're attacking this artist for whatever, I feel like you're attacking me and attacking what I'm going after. Because a lot of people nowadays want to live vicariously through artists, celebrities, YouTubers, Twitch streamers, or whatever like that, because they don't want to take the time to work on themselves. And social media, I can't blame the people themselves, because that's what social media does. It shows you the highlights of people's lives. And when it does that, it makes you go, wow, I want to live like that. And that's what's ruined a lot of relationships, as far as like man and woman, man and man, woman and woman, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Relationships in general have been messed up because of that, because now people are trying to compare their relationship with their loved one with something that they see on Instagram or what somebody said on Twitter. They want to live vicariously. So if somebody gets a girl gets a crazy, her man do go all out for her on Valentine's Day, or all out for her birthday. Now your girl want to come to you and be like, oh, well, you don't ever do that for me. Well, yeah, I can't do that for you, but it don't mean that he loves her any more than I love you. But a lot of people don't think that way. They kind of want their life to be like other people's lives, instead of working on themselves to figure out who they are and what they are. They just want to copy and paste what they see on Instagram, what they see on Twitter. Oh, I saw this on TikTok, so I bought it. You know what I'm saying? Which ain't nothing wrong with that, but you should always worry about working yourself, making sure you're complete whole, making sure that you can't be wholesome without being a whole. You know what I'm saying? Not being a whole, but without being whole. And you can't be whole if you only cater to a single part of you. And a lot of people don't really take the time to figure out who they are and be okay with who they are, because they kind of want to, they worry too much about what's the word, the approval of others, having people approve of them or having people like them. And people if somebody don't like you, there's nothing you can do to make them like you. You could do and say and change and do whatever you want. If they don't like you, they just don't like you. Who cares? And if they like you, there's not much you can do to make them not like you, unless you purposely make them not like you. Understand what I'm saying? Now, if they randomly just not like you, maybe you took a stance on something that they don't agree with. But I don't think that really, people really go that far with it. Like, oh yeah, I really liked your content. Like, I really liked your content, but then you said this, so I'm unsubscribing. Like, okay, I don't care. I don't even know you. But people do that. But anyway, to wrap it up, yeah, it's easier for a lot of people. It's easier for them to live through a Drake, to live through a Kendrick, and be like, yeah, well, he represents me. He did this. That's why people focus so much on when an artist or a celebrity don't do something. They want to call them out. Hey, you should be doing it. You should speak about this. You should speak about that. Or you could speak about it and then just leave that person the fuck alone. If you stand on something, you should stand on that on your own. Like they say, it's not a movement if there's no movement. If you don't move, if you're just sitting on Twitter waiting for somebody with a bigger platform to do something, for it to mean something, when it could just be a bunch of little people with their small platforms can make a movement too. It don't have to be a big celebrity. It don't have to be the president of the United States for something to get the ball rolling. It could be a bunch of little moves that can still get something moving forward. But people don't want to make the little moves. They don't care about the little moves. They only want the big moves. You understand what I'm saying?
Mundane monotony of their relatively danger-free existence. Because let's keep it real. Nobody wants to watch a movie about an upper-middle-class married couple throwing passive-aggressive pot shots at each other until their marriage inevitably implodes under the weight of their own shared resentment. Okay, I stand corrected. This time. This is why the debate over white rappers still rages on to this day, and even why someone is universally respected.
White rappers, what the fuck?
Is Eminem, who spent just about a decade on the battle circuit honing his craft before getting cosigns from some of hip-hop's dignitaries, still for years had to fight accusations of culture vulturing. Was it unfair? Yeah, it was. But was it unnecessary? Well, remember what I said last video about Vanilla Ice?
Yeah.
Well, take that and apply it to somebody who basically had absolutely no demonstrable interest in hip hop beyond the most superficial aspects of what white Queen America believes constitute blackness. That's Bad Baby in a nutshell. If anyone were to be the face of the industry plant, industry, it would be this future Teen Mom cast member. Yeah, I still got 2 years. Keep it in the script, Clarence. If you don't know who Bad Baby is, it's the Cash Me Outside girl from that one Dr. Phil episode that your parents barred your kid sister from ever watching. And guess what? The music industry swooped in and made a whole freaking chart-topping rap artist out of her based on nothing but that meme.
And she's still a chart-topping rap artist. She had a hit song, on a Billboard like a month ago.
Continues to be fascinated.
One of them little diss songs to what was it, Travis Barker daughter?
Package it and sell it back to itself as
not the Island Boys. So fucking weird. The Island Boys are so weird, bro. I don't think I've ever talked about. I think maybe I wasn't doing YouTube videos when Island Boys came. Maybe I was. I don't remember. Island Boys. Jesus Christ, what the fuck, bro? They had this one song. It wasn't even a song. It was like a 30-second skit of them just saying the Island Boys, whatever the fuck they were saying. Then they tried to perform the little 30-second thing. And then they got successful somehow. I don't know. Doing shows, going to clubs or whatever like that. Then all of a sudden, they start kissing each other. What the fuck? Like, oh my gosh. I hate it here. I hate it here. Like people will try and get popular off of connecting themselves to certain things, having a certain look, a certain aesthetic or whatever like that. And then when it dies down because you're exploiting, that the name of this is exploiting a culture, exploiting a movement, exploiting something else, you just go far left, far into something else just to keep the attention going. Like, what reason did the Island Boys have to keep posting videos of them kissing each other? Now, I'm not against gay people or anything like that. I'm not against LGBTQ. Do what you want to do. Have fun. But incest? Aren't y'all literal brothers? Twins? Incest? We have to draw the line at incest. Y'all are on camera kissing each other. That's crazy. But anyways, let's move on. Oh my God. Internet, I swear to God, is the worst place ever.
I hate rap, but I do listen to Eminem. Market is still very much alive and racist because, as has become something of a running gag on this channel, America loves everything about black people except the people.
Right. No, let me see what that says.
And racist.
I hate all rap music except Eminem. The new version of that, because there's multiple levels. So there's, first of all, saying I hate all rap music is just insane, but I hate all rap music except Eminem also has turned into, because some people say I hate all rap music, I don't listen to rap music except Eminem, but then another version of that, a little bit more in their eyes, culture version of that is I don't listen to rap music except Drake. Like some people, all they know, and Drake isn't really, it's confusing. When you think about Drake's biggest songs, they're not really rap songs. Dance hall, pop, whatever. There's very little rap songs in Drake's catalog, but then all of a sudden he wants to get in a rap battle and people are like, yeah, Drake's been the best rapper for a long time, even though he doesn't, whatever. I'm not saying Drake's not a rapper, but I'm just saying for a person that raps the least out of most of the rappers, especially the rappers in the big three, you rap the least out of all of them. Yet you thought that you could beat somebody in a rap battle. Anyways, Hall of Fame, Eminem, NF, and Macklemore. These subreddits, I don't listen to anime and video game music. Oh, why that's like, it's all guns, money, and sex. Oh my gosh. Is that a JoJo reference? Who the fuck? Mumble crap. Favorite rap song. Rap God being your favorite rap song is insane. Even that being your favorite Eminem song is insane. I'll fuck with Rap God, but I don't think, I'll have to think of my top 10 favorite Eminem songs. I don't think Rap God's in there. I fuck with Rap God, but I don't think it's a top 10 Eminem song. So having Rap God be your favorite rap song, insane. That's not even Eminem's best song.
Because as has become something of a running gag on this channel, America loves everything about black people except the people, apparently.
And that's the funny thing, because Eminem is a student of hip-hop. That's why this is so funny, because people will say, oh, I don't listen to rap music except for Eminem, thinking like they're making a statement or that it matters. Eminem is a student of this shit. A student of this shit. He loves this shit, like for real, for real. Anytime you talk to him, he gonna start talking about a whole nother rapper and how they rhyme certain words and their flows and this and that. He said, "Oh yeah, that's why I love the baby." The baby, what? Eminem likes to be like. It's not. He's a student.
Running gag on this channel.
You don't like the genre, but you like somebody that is a product of the genre, but mainly because they white. But you know what I'm saying. And he's a great rapper. Let's not take that away from him. Great rapper, one of the greatest rappers of all time. But you basing that strictly off of, he's a white rapper and he did this and that, like it's kind of crazy.
America loves everything about black people except the people.
And Eminem's one of my favorite rappers of all time. So
I'm realizing now that this section probably belongs to part 2, but I'm already here, so let's just move on anyway. Like I've said umpteen times now over the course of this series, I don't really have any issue with street rap or rappers in a vacuum. In fact, as some of y'all might have gathered, I'm actually consuming myself. Maybe not as much as I was a decade ago, but I have made a habit of bumping As Hot and Hell Is Dark on my morning power walks.
Fire.
I'm also not saying that everybody who listens to street rap is only doing so for the adrenaline kick. The same reason why I love Kendrick's music so much is the same reason why some people love YB and Dirk's. It doesn't matter if their punchlines feel more like an open palm love tap than a left hook from late 80s Mike Tyson. It's the fact that someone empathizes with them in a way that only someone who's had to live the bulk of their life looking over their shoulder for the ops and the feds alike could understand that matters. And that I can rock with, but what I can't abide with is corporate vultures pulling literal kids off the street, promising them the world for the sake of commodifying and ultimately exploiting their miseducation. When I say kids, I mean literal kids. 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, if not younger, having their trauma and misdeeds exploited by people twice, if not.
What was that kid? I haven't seen him in a minute, but that little kid, what's his name? Lil RT? Or something like that. He was like 8, 9 years old, and he was rapping about whatever the fuck he was rapping about. He's showing up in strip clubs, throwing money at strippers and all that. Like, what happened to him, and where was his parents?
Who haven't lived half the life they have. And for what? 15 minutes of fame and an advance check worth more than the house they grew up in? Actually,
he was on like wasn't he on like they did a pop the balloon challenge with him and a bunch of little kids? The internet, bro, I swear to fucking God. Somebody really has an idea and be like, let's do that. Let's get a whole bunch of little kids and make a dating show out of it. Why are we sexualizing children? Why is that okay?
Ethically wrong.
I don't want to see a bunch of little kids popping balloons. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't like her because of this and I don't like her. Like, what the hell, bro? And it's run by adults. Like, why is that an idea for y'all to have? Leave these people. Let these kids be kids. Don't start shoving cameras in their face and telling them pick the boy you like and pick the girl you like. Like, oh my gosh,
yeah, and
bro.
still, there's only so much finger waving we can do at the labels when we continue to create a market for vicarious criminality. In 2017, Texas teen rapper Kxng was captured in, of all places, Elizabeth, New Jersey, after a 3-month-long nationwide manhunt for him after violating the terms of his house arrest in relation to a botched home invasion.
They just had an update on it, like, I think he was found not guilty of capital murder, but guilty of murder or something like that.
Tay released his platinum-selling single, The Race, on the same day he was apprehended by the U.S. Marshal. A song about, well, you know it, that 3-month-long manhunt.
Right.
Prosecutors used the aforementioned track as evidence for the jury in Tay's sentencing, which, I mean, that's his own fault for self-snitching, but unlike Arab, who was a hold-behind man when he self-snitched, Tay was still a minor at the time. I hadn't even seen the name.
And that's how he blew up. That's the crazy part.
This kid's rap sheet looked like a GTA character's before he was eligible to vote. And before you judge him, actually hear his story from his perspective. The same way that we did for someone like, Kyle, who, lied his way into a far-right militia before ultimately killing 2 people and badly injuring another. There's plenty of interviews and videos that have been done on the case, so I'm not going to waste time surfing that way. But what I will say is that if you take the time to watch them, you'll see, as Donald Glover once said, that the kid basically had no chance. This isn't me condoning, let alone excusing the fact that at the very least he's complicit in one murder and, based on the evidence, probably committed another while on the lam, no less. But it is me saying that the kid needed, but evidently never at any point in his life had even one responsible adult to steer him another way. Least of which his label, maybe instead of letting the boy incriminate himself.
How did he get signed to a label?
Confessing to an open charge in a music video.
So he got signed to a label before he went on the run? I'm confused on that.
With Insta and Twitter photos of, among other things, him brandishing imaginary pistols while in a jail cell. I mean, the least you could have done was said, well, buddy, you might not want to rap about the details of your case, at least not until after the trial. That's what we got lawyers for, bucko. Or even, I don't know, be the adult this kid needed and never had and get him away from the people, places, and activities that wound up getting him 55 years and max security. But failure, it's not the label's responsibility to stop you from being an idiot. And typically, I agree. If not for the label, which is a subsidiary of Sony, by the way, releasing his debut mixtape the day before he was apprehended. How serious?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like people will say it's not the label's responsibility to stop you from doing bad things. People will say that, but be okay with the label exploiting your situation or the label monetizing your situation. It's okay for the label to monetize off of your crash outs or monetize off of you making dumb mistakes. Especially you're a kid, you're 16 years old, you're not grown, you're not going to make rational decisions at 16 years old. The label can monetize that, make millions and millions of dollars off of that, but they shouldn't be held responsible for it. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But that goes into the not looking at certain people or certain, artists as from the lens of they're human. They make mistakes. They do this and that. It's just looking at them like, oh, they're entertained. They made a bad mistake. Whatever. Like, especially it's young.
Releasing it, featuring a remix of the song that wound up getting him 55 years in max security. Oh, and in case you're saying, well, at least he's got that sweet advance check money to look forward to when he's eligible for parole at age 47, you're sorely mistaken, bucko, because almost all of it was spent on that crack team of defense attorneys that apparently the label couldn't fit into the budget after, marketing the mixtape, producing a music video, and printing all those free TK shirts that couldn't have been used to pay any legal fees whatsoever, because, that just wouldn't be ethical at all.
Insane.
That buckos and buckets is insane exploitation, and it's not the first or anywhere near the last time it has or will happen. Understand something. This isn't me excusing or justifying.
Monetize this man's situation, and when it came to paying for lawyer fees, whatever like that, they was like, oh, it's not in our budget. But they probably made millions and millions of dollars off of TK.
He's complicit in one murder and probably committed another one while on the lam, no less. Nor is this about the culpability of these artists in the alleged and, in Tay's case, convicted crimes. But this is about record labels profiting from that criminality with little to no benefit to the artists, let alone the victims of their actions. Well, in lieu of a lawsuit, obviously. And don't get it twisted. The reason this track blew up the way that it did, or at least in part, is because of the public's fascination, even obsession in some cases, with the whole Butch Cassidy factor that Tay had going at the time. But similar scenarios are played out for Bobby Shmurda, YNW Melly, and I still don't know how to say this, whose lyrics were used, at least in Shmurda and Melly's cases, against them in court. And in X and Melly's case, described in disturbing details the crimes they had or would commit. Well, alleged in X's case, but
right.
Let's be real, fam. And while we're at it, listen, I've already gone on record about my feelings concerning X, so I'm not going to dwell on that. And though I do believe in innocence until guilt is proven in the court of law, come on, fam. That being said, it was about as obvious as a bogus campaign promise that this kid needed some serious mental help. And he even admitted as much on pretty much every track of his that I've listened to. And if y'all know me, I always believe that as long as you're breathing, you have a chance to redeem yourself if you're willing to do that. And this kid would have had more than enough time to do so if he had lived long enough to do so.
Right.
The only way
it seemed like that was the path that was going down the way past.
A cult. And you think his label hasn't exploited that? Then
most
you
definitely.
Haven't listened to any of Tupac's 6 posthumous LPs. 6. Or that one album that Diddy made that was just a list of who's who of mid-aughts hip-hop acts getting shown up by the asthmatic ghost of Biggie Smalls. But what makes X's case so shady is the immediacy and circumstances surrounding his death. X's music is defined by the troubled life he lived, which ultimately led to his passing. And like I said in that video I mentioned earlier, knowing what we do now, how could we possibly separate the artist from his art? At that point, when is it the listener's responsibility to just, stop supporting a product that glorifies?
And that's another conversation that's been going on for a minute now, especially with the whole Kanye situation. People are like, well, I want to separate. We should separate the artist from the art, or the art from the artist. But the thing is, as an artist, your brain is what drives the art, no matter what. Your brain, your thoughts, your ideas, what you think about, what you consume, your experiences is what forms your art, is what shapes your art. So how can you separate the art from the artist when the art is based on the thoughts of the artist? You understand what I'm saying? You can't say, oh, I want to separate Kanye's music. First of all, Kanye's music isn't good enough to be trying to separate it from him compared to his old music. And he's in the song talking about how can I be anti-Semitic? I'm fucking a Jewish bitch or whatever the fuck he said in the song. Like, how can you say you trying to separate the art from the artist when he's referring to the things that people are saying, hey, I can't support that in his music. He's teasing album covers with him wearing the KKK shit. Like, how can you continue to keep saying that when he keeps putting the shit that he's saying on Twitter in his art over and over? Not even the shit he's saying on Twitter, but just the shit he said, been saying over the past 5, 10, 15 years in his music over and over and over again. And you just keep saying, oh, I want to separate the art from the artist when the art is based around everything that the artist is saying. I'm rich, I'm successful, fuck y'all niggas, whatever, all the shit that he just be saying. And it's just like, at a certain point, Kanye never makes diss tracks, but he made the Like That remix, where everything he basically said in the Justin LeBoy interview, he put it in rap form, which once again is him taking things he's already said in public and putting it in his music. So how can you separate the art from the artist when the artist and the artists are saying the exact same shit? It's not like a lot of these people separate their personal life from their music. A lot of people will put their personal life or certain thoughts and ideas that they have. Some people do, but most of those people who do usually don't have nothing to talk about in their music. Usually they're just talking about the regular generic money, sex, and hoes, money, sex, and clothes, whatever the fuck. Those people, it's easier to separate the art from the artist because their art doesn't consist of any real weight. But when you're an artist like Kanye that's always had something worth listening to, I want to say something worth listening to, but something worth, some type of message or some type of idea infused in it, you're forced to listen into what he's saying. And when he's saying bullshit, then you're just like, okay, I can't separate the art from the artist. But if it's, I'm getting money, I'm fucking these bitches, no, I'm getting the riches and all stuff like that, yeah, perfect. Well, go ahead, separate the art from the artist because you don't know whatever. You know, if we talk about a money bag yo, or we talk about you know what I'm saying? Fine, go separate the art from the artist. But when we talk about an artist like Kanye that puts certain things, his emotion, his feels, his thoughts, his ideas into his music and has been doing it for a long time, like, how can you say that? That's like saying separate the art from the artist from Kendrick. And it's just like, well, Kendrick purposely makes his music have meaning. So if his music's supposed to have meaning and the meaning is bullshit, you gotta call it out for being bullshit. You understand what I'm saying?
Crime, then at least a known pattern of criminal behavior, abuse no less. But perhaps more than that, how do we live in a world in which the kid's label partners with, or was according to his fans at least, the main reason he was so effed in the head to begin with, the profit off his tainted legacy, and we all just look the other way? Hey, more emo rap.
Listeners are vying to win $10,000 contest to design an animated video for the single Bad. With one entry depicting a larger-than-life existence of crackling with lightning. The album will have a premiere party during...
And that's the thing, isn't it? Like I've gone above and beyond to make clear at the end of the day, if there's no market, then there's no incentive to supply. And in the case of 6ix9ine, YBN, Bad Baby, Iggy, and a myriad of others, manufacture a product. As much as we, the listener, claim to support our favorite artists...
Run to the bathroom real quick. One second. Oh shit. Hold up, 1 second. All right. What did it say? Exertacion's music said we about to wrap it up because Mike keep calling me. My girlfriend keeps calling me. Got 4 minutes, about 3 minutes left. Exertacion music sales rise after rise 16,000% after death as his question mark album heads back to top 10 on Billboard 200. Somebody that notice music sales, which means it's a transaction, which means money is being made. So somebody got a big payday off of Odu's death, and it wasn't him. It wasn't his mama. It wasn't his loved ones. It was whoever is over his label, over his career, whatever department runs the XX Tentacion train, whatever label that is a part of.
Just their art. Time and time again, we prove how much more our own demand for their product means to us than the producer.
The person,
of it.
right?
By empowering
people care more about, and I have this conversation all the time. People care more about getting. How do I put it? People care more about getting the music than whatever is going on, or care more about getting the product than the artist. That's kind of what he's saying. Getting the product more than they care about the producer of the product. And there's no example bigger than that than the music leaking community. I never personally involved myself with leak music and stuff like that because I, as an artist, I follow the idea of if the music isn't out, then the artist didn't want it out. And artists make money off the music. If you're leaking their music, you're taking food or you're taking money off their table. You don't know what situation they may have going on, what big plans they may have going on, and you just ruin the entire thing because you had such a thirst for getting new music from the artist. That's all you care about. You don't care about the artist getting paid. That's why I always say people, stan culture and fan culture are two different things. A stan, logic doesn't matter to them. Logic doesn't matter to them. The success or the success of an artist or helping the artist, keep succeeding or making money, putting food on the table doesn't matter to them as much as them getting the dopamine that the artist provides them. That is what matters the most. A fan, on the other hand, or a super fan, on the other hand, will be somebody that cares about what's the word? The well-being of the artist. You understand what I'm saying? They will buy the album to make sure the artist gets paid. They will buy tickets to the show. Not saying stans don't buy tickets to the shows, but stans are more obsessed with the dopamine that an artist gives them than they do about the well-being of the artist, than they do about the artist making money off of their music, whatever like that. Like the artist could be in jail. Artists are in jail and all people care about is we need some new music. Well, he's in jail right now. He can't give you new music. Or damn, I wanted that new music. Damn, free him. Like people only want artists to be freed if they wanted them to make them some music. Now, if you fell off, if people are offering you and you get in a situation, you die, you go to jail. They have some people that have sympathy for you, but they have some people be like, well, he was trash anyways. It don't matter. He could go. He could have kept that music anyways. Like people get really harsh when it comes to other people, especially artists, when it comes to certain situations, because if I'm off of the product you're producing, then whatever's happening to you, I don't give a fuck. You could go and die somewhere. But if you're producing something that I still get dopamine from and I'm still obsessed with, I don't care what lengths I have to go to get it. I will go get it, whether it's a leak, paying for a leak, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever. They do not care about the well-being of the artist. NBA Youngboy has been basically a drug addict for years. People see it. Kodak Black, another one. People see these people stressing, going through a lot, and yeah, some people be like, oh, I'll hope the best for them, and then you still going to support the system that has them fucked up in the first place. Still going to support that system. When the album drop, you're still going to go and listen to the project, which is going to get more money to the label, which is going to keep this person going because, hey, I can't eat if I don't keep putting music out. So they're not really focusing on putting time on themselves and trying to get better and trying to get clean because they have to keep putting music out to keep trying to pay the bills because the label ain't really putting them in a situation where they can take a break. You know what I'm saying? Of course, some people are addicted to making music, like a young boy, but that is just an overall a personality of his. Is just an addictive personality, drug addiction, addicted to making music, addicted to dropping music. Like his whole career at this point has been based around the idea of addiction, addicted to just controversy, drama. Like that has just been who he is, and people are just like, well, as long as he give us the bangers, I don't care. And it's just like, no, he needs some help. You understand what I'm saying? But let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up.
Doing just that. And this is a reality that artists across all media, but music in particular, have been bemoaning for decades. But so long as our own interests continue to...
Lead email that nonsense to Def Jam and they're blasting the label for allegedly assigning the album a paltry $200,000 promotional budget, refusing to let it count toward his contract, and really not caring about the album. MTV has confirmed that the email is real. Assigning the album a $200,000 promotion, refusing to let it count toward his contract. Refusing to let the album come to his contract and giving him that's a small budget. Only $200,000. That's kind of a small budget for a label. Yeah, because $200,000 for promotion for a record label, a major record label like Def Jam in 2010, $200,000 is not a good budget.
The people we stand so hard for, there will always be an opportunity for grip.
That must have been for what's that name of that album?
Escapism. Or
what's the name of that album with the song about his daughter on it? I can't remember the name of the album. I think that's probably the album he's talking about.
Entertainment at the detriment.
Life is Good? I forgot what it's called.
With that. In the case of all the people I mentioned in this video, at least, at some point there was a conscious decision made by someone, if not multiple someones, to de-emphasize the best interests of the producer for the sake of a profit. And put frankly, that's scummier than a high school chemistry class petri dish. I want to wrap this series up with a personal story, which this whole series really...
And it goes to Juice WRLD is another example. People will complain about how the record labels are exploiting artists' death. But guess what? Those posthumous albums still sell. What side are you on? Are you against these labels exploiting and putting artists in situations where they can potentially die or go to jail? Are you against that? Or are you for it? Because it doesn't make sense for you for it to just be a spoken thing all over the internet or whatever like that, which of course the internet isn't real, but all over the internet where people are calling out, hey, they're exploiting this person, that this is wrong, this and that. You talk like you don't support it, but you still go listen to music to judge it, to decide whether or not you want to rank it on whether, oh, they did this wrong, they should never put this out, or damn, he really had some heat in the tuck. It shouldn't have been put out at all. You should be able to profit off it all. And then the label will put out a little press release saying, oh, a part of this profit is going to go to his family or this and that, whatever like that, to make themselves look good, make it look like they have humanity and morals or whatever like that. They don't fucking care. They just want to make some money off of an artist that has a dedicated fan base. You understand what I'm saying? But I was, and it's like the principles. If I'm dead or gone, don't put out no posthumous albums. What I gave you is what I wanted to give you. Anything else that doesn't come out, it wasn't meant to come out. But these people will piece pieces of songs together and give y'all an album. Y'all will complain they're exploiting his death. The album cover is so trash. Oh my gosh, they're trying to ruin his legacy. But still go listen to the project. Still go and support the system you're complaining about. It's crazy.
It has just revolved around personal stories anyway. So my freshman year dorm was not only co-ed, but had co-ed floors, and I was on one of those floors. And I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but I thank baby black Jesus for them. I was one of a total of like 3 black dudes on that floor, but more importantly, the most, and big quotation marks here, culturally black one. My point being that I had my pick of pink to peach colored nipples to play with if I wanted it, based on that fact alone. But just as I was preparing
pink
myself
to peach colored nipples is crazy.
I realized that the Beckys that wanted me did so just as, if not more, for where I was from, as for who I was. For the first time in my life, I understood what that stable of house meat rules Fox News keeps in cryogenic stasis until it's time to weep and gnash teeth over the release of a new rap album or the election of the next colored public official met by objectification. And that's why to this day, I've never gone farther than second base with a Becky. Not that I didn't want to, because believe me, I wanted to. I really, really wanted to. But because I couldn't help but think that she only wanted me after I showed her how to do gang signs, which in retrospect was probably a bad idea. My point being, I'm so defensive of black.
And that's kind of like a conversation I be having with my partner sometimes, where it's just like certain things aren't worth it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you could have your pick of the litter with certain women or whatever like that. Especially as like a black man, you could, whatever you into, that's what you into. But for me personally, there's just so much of a cultural just. As a person that has messed with or dated I think I don't know if I dated, but mess with some white women. Certain things I shouldn't have to keep explaining to you why saying certain things, doing certain things, acting a certain way, or viewing the world a certain way may not be beneficial to both of us. You understand what I'm saying? You not having a full understanding of my culture or this and that is a divide that I personally, or at least as of recent, I won't say as of recently, but over my life hasn't been interested enough to explore. I don't have time to keep explaining why why we feel this way, why we act this way, why we talk this way, because it all comes back down to y'all. But then it's oh, why are y'all always blaming this? Like, I don't have time to explain this to you, and I don't want to. Like, I'd rather be with a nice little black woman or a nice little Spanish woman. It just depends. I would rather be with somebody that can kind of understand what it feels like, understands the culture. We can have these moments. We can have this dialogue. I don't want to have to change how I talk to you because you may not understand how I talk. Because, oh, I love the way you talk, but you don't understand the way I talk. You don't understand why I talk the way I talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just too much for me. I don't have time for that all the time. You know what I'm saying? And there's always like this disconnect. No matter how much you can explain to somebody, they're not going to fully understand it because it's not about words. It's not about telling you what it is. It's about experiencing what it is, and you'll never experience what it is because you're not that. You understand what I'm saying? It's just rough. I'm not on no like Dr. Umar type shit because, like I said, you're gonna love whoever you love. But I'm talking about for me personally, it's just too much for me to just try and make sure to get you to understand certain things, understand certain content, understand my stance on certain things and how certain things affect me and this and that. And then I'm just not giving you that power. I'm not like, it's, if you want to learn, I'll teach you. But trying to make this like no, I won't teach you because learning isn't enough. That's the thing. You can read as many books as you can, but the experience is the experience. I remember Cody Rhodes said this one time on I think he had like one of the little podcast thing he does. He was talking to Bianca Belair. And he said that he told like his current wife, his wife right now, Brandy Rhodes, who is a black woman. He said when he first started, he was trying to impress her, whatever like that. He told her he doesn't see color, and she responds saying, "Well, then you don't see my experience." And that's exactly what it is. It's like, yeah, you can say, "Oh, I don't care about color. Color doesn't matter to me." Yeah, that's perfectly fine, but you got to understand, in the world we live in, there is a difference between how you're treated because of this and how I'm treated because of that. If you just want to ignore all that and just want to be like, well, I look at everybody. It doesn't matter how you look at everybody. You have to understand that people go through certain things because of certain things. And if you want to just be oblivious to the whole thing because, you know, it doesn't subconsciously have an effect on you. So it's not that big of a deal to you. I'm not willing to have that conversation or make you understand why it's such a big deal to me. You understand what I'm saying? But anyways, let's wrap this up. I keep saying that, but he keeps saying shit that make me just be like, he cooking. So now I gotta cook with him, you know what I'm saying?
Experience for myself just how little mainstream America cares about us beyond what we contribute to its otherwise cultural bankruptcy.
Right.
Which I wouldn't have so much of a problem with if, again, mainstream America adequately addressed just a handful of the issues we as a people have been pissing and moaning about since Jack Daniels was an antiseptic.
Just a little bit.
The moral of the story is,
a little bit.
If you're gonna fall in love with black folks, don't do it for how we look, where we're from, or
how we talk, how we walk. Oh, I love the way he talk. Oh, I love, like we're actual human beings. We have personalities. We have experiences. We have this and that. So if you're like, oh, like there was a conversation on Joe Budden podcast about the fetishization of men or whatever like that. That's a thing. Some women only like black men because of the stereotype of black men have. You know what I'm saying? What we got or whatever like that. That's not love. That's not looking at a black man as a human. You're only looking at him as a sexual object. You're only looking at him as a sexual deviant and all these stereotypes that they already have of us. And you're just holding it to that. And that's your only reason for the attraction. And it's just like, no, you got to figure out that people have experiences. People have personalities. People have certain things that make them who they are. And you shouldn't just be like, oh, he's black. He got a big, what's shaboing boing. That's why I like him. Like, no. And that's that's the it's not just even a black thing. Sometimes it's how people look at men in general sometimes. Not all the time. Because some men look at women the exact same thing. But some women just be like, oh, well, if the dick is good, then I'm okay. And it's just like, well, do you care anything about what he's going through as a man. Even though I do understand, I've been reading a book or whatever like that. I do understand some men don't want to express themselves or what stuff like that because of certain things. But if you allow him the space to, eventually he will open up to you. But some people don't allow the space because it's just like money, sex, and that's it. I don't want to hear about your problems. I don't want to hear about this or that, because if you talk about your problems, then you're weak. And if you're weak, then you're not a man. And if you're not a man, why the fuck am I with you? And it's just all this stuff like that. It's very complicated.
Culture and insatiable appetite for consumption. But love us for who we are, and then act accordingly. In other words,
why isn't it racism a debate? Oh God.
Damn it.
Oh God, why is... That's the things that we argue about. And I was talking to my girlfriend about this. I'm about to talk to after I get off stream. You'll talk to my girlfriend about this. How the smallest things can be what skews people from one side to the other side like that. Somebody could be a bigot, sexual predator, just the worst human being possible. But if they're like, abortion is bad, you're gonna be like, oh well, I'm voting for you. Oh, like what the fuck? You understand what I'm saying? It's just insane how the smallest thing can make the biggest difference for certain people when they're looking at who should they support and who they shouldn't support. That person could look you in your eye, spit in your face, slap you, call you a whole bunch of expletives. But if they say abortion is bad, well, he's got a point. No, but that's really how America really works. It's just the smallest thing can really make or break a whole entire situation, no matter what that person says, does, or whatever like that. If they just say the right thing one time, a lot of people can just be pulled and pulled just off of that. And it's just insane. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. Shout out to everybody that popped in, everybody that commented. Follow me on Twitch, Kxng Anon, Kxng Anon. Like, share, subscribe. I'll be over on Twitch tomorrow. Friday we'll be doing a live stream. I just told this girl I'm gonna call her back. Over on a live stream. Eventually I'm gonna try and find a way to where I can be on Twitch and on YouTube at the exact same time. That's really what I want to do, is find a way to do that, because I know some people do that where they're live on 2 platforms at the same time. And that'll be even better for me as far as content and stuff like that. But until then, that's it for me. I'm out. Too sweet. Deuces. She keep calling my phone.